Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Bowles, Profits Unlimited, coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky. Yes, indeedy. Oh, my goodness. Got a great show planned today. We got like 678 things we're going to try to cover today, but we'll probably only get to two. No, I don't know. Heck, we'll get to as many as you allow us to get to. That's it, because you're listening, your engagement, you make the show the show. I love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you all that tune in, and certainly appreciate you sharing it like you do and watching our podcast. So, um, man, it is hump day. We have made it through another. Well, I was going to say 3 days, but I guess technically not 3 days. We've made it through a couple days and into day three pretty successfully here. Good morning, Corey. Appreciate you listening, my friend. Glad you joined us this morning, and got a lot of great topics for you guys today. We're going to talk about. We got a great weather start to the week this week, and today's an outstanding day going on out there. So we'll see how that all plays out. But we've been very fortunate with our weather. Speaking of weather, we're going to have Bam. Matt Griffin's going to hop on with us here in a little while. So looking forward to that, as always. But I hope your week's going well. Absolutely. I hope your week's going well. We got a good week underway here at WLS, and things are rolling through pretty good. And got Katie back. Yay. And Daniel's been pretty good at going and getting what he's does for us here at Profits Unlimited and the Profit Circle and WLS. He wears a lot of hats like the rest of us do, like you do, right? And but hey, we got a really nice landscaping project underway today that also includes some landscape lighting. We did the tear out last week and got it all prepped, and went going over today, or we're there now, and looking forward to trying to get both those knocked out at the same time. Going to get the landscaping done and the lighting installed. So for you guys that follow us, I'm sure you'll be seeing some pictures up on that as we get that done. So uh, Doug says they're out doing emergency tree cleanups this morning. That's always a good thing to get rolling on. Little extra non wasn't counting on income rolling in through the company. So, hey, I can appreciate that for sure, Doug. So, you guys be safe with that. So, glad that's going well for you. So, keep up the good work on that, to say the very minimum. Not minimum on the price, but hey, just be safe out there. I don't know. I was just watching a video the other day about a girl, had not a girl, a woman, trimming some hedges, man, and she grabbed a bar by accident. I mean, God, just you can't be careful enough. That's the reality of it. You just can't be too careful when it comes to doing things like that. But yeah, that's what we got underway here. Corey, appreciate you, and Doug, and I know we got more of you guys listening and whatnot, so we appreciate that. For any of our new listeners that are out there, if you guys would like to text in, feel free to do so. My direct number is 502 550 8307. That's 502 550 8307. Feel free to text in and give us your input. We appreciate everybody's input, quite honestly. And as much as I like to get on here and talk about different topics, I love to hear what you guys are doing and how you're running your business and what you're doing. We had to call an audible this morning. Anybody ever have to call an audible besides us on a change for the day kind of thing? But yeah, we had an audible change this morning. One of our crew leaders was pretty sick, actually, and hopefully he gets feeling better. But he's been under the weather pretty much all week, and just couldn't make it in today. But I appreciate what Derek's done last couple days. Coming in and getting the job done. So we had to call an audible this morning and switch a few things around, and that's just part of doing business, though. That's just part of doing business. And Katie was funny when she came in. She's out doing a few videos now on that project we're doing, but She came in, Aaron Walls, if you're listening to us, buddy, she had her purple shirt on today. Kyle actually, when he ordered our new gear for us here at WLS, he actually ordered a purple WLS shirt for Katie. So she's in her purple WLS shirt today, supporting our buddy, the Purple Walrus, Aaron Walls. And the other day it was funny. She had another guy that she works with, David, here in our local market. Actually helps him with his marketing and branding and whatnot. And was had his shirt on, and a customer came in, and I said, "Oh God, here comes somebody, Katie, and you got David's shirts on," and she says, "Oh, it's fine," and it is fine. Heck, there if they would ask, we'd tell them, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. We just like to support everybody. There's plenty of work out there for each and every one of us, and I think that's something that sometimes we get lost in that, and that's something that it's much better to develop relationships with your competitors, and I get it. There's some that you don't care a whole lot about. I understand that. I mean, we're not going to get into that whole side of it today, but the reality of it is there's some people that don't like us as a competitor. They don't like me for whatever reason. That's okay. Can't imagine why anybody wouldn't like me, but that it's their own individual choice. But one thing we never do is criticize a competitor, and because when you resort to criticizing your competition, then that means you have nothing to offer yourself. So, and I've got people, like I said, that I probably wouldn't pee on if they were on fire, realistically, but I would never ever let anybody know that. Said, hey, that Daniel Voles, he's just a jerk, blah, 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 blah. Man, your customers don't need to know that's your opinion, you know. Uh, and I know a lot of times when I hire contractors to come to my house to do things, I'll see what they have to say about their competition based on questions that I ask to see if they're going to criticize them or if they're going to divert the question professionally. And for those that decide to criticize their competitor, I don't care how well I like them. I'm not going to hire them because I know that's the type of contractor that they will be. So that's just me. I'm not saying that's the way you got to do it, or you need to do it, or you want to do it, or have to do it. I don't care how you do it. But what I do care about is professionalism for our industry. And I think that's something that we could all, each and every one of us, be a little bit better at. I've got a really good friend of mine that's just a goofy, man. And he's not even in our industry, but he's outside our industry. But I mean, he's just goofy when it comes to talking about people, man. And I don't know. It's one thing I don't like about him. But anyways, we're not here. That's not the agenda today. The agenda today is first things first. Matt's going to hop on with us from BAM Weather, or I hope he still is. I didn't reach out to him this morning, but that was the plan when I talked to him on Monday. And looking forward to having him on with us for a little while today and get their insight. But I want to give a big shout out to Aaron. Had a great show this morning. Purple Walrus did talking. He had Darren on his show with him, and Darren was kind of funny talking about him and a few guys taking a walk around the neighborhood. Speaking of Matt Griffin, there we go. Let's we're gonna that. All right. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. We have Matt hopping on here with us. Matt, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic. Can you hear me all right?
Oh yeah, man. We're good on your end. How about us on yours? Everybody good?
Perfect. Crystal clear, my
Good.
friend. Crystal
Good
clear.
deal. Well, my software says we're good, but technology's great, but you can't always trust it.
Yeah, speaking of that, I was having iPhone issues all day today. I was on the phone with Apple support for about 30 minutes earlier today. So just kind of goes to show you.
Yeah. Yeah, true that. True that. Hey, we got a big weekend coming up, Easter, right across the country for everybody. What's weather looking like? I've been reading some of your all's posts you've been putting out there. So
Yeah, Easter weekend looks active to say the least. The fun, so to speak, I guess you can call it, kind of kicks off late tonight, tomorrow morning. So some folks into, I'd say, especially northeastern Kansas, southern Nebraska, some storms fire up, more of a wind, gust, and hail type of threat there. And then for Thursday, southern Minnesota, Iowa, we'll see if we can get something isolated further in eastern Kansas and Oklahoma. But another round, some stronger severe storms, wind gust, hail, maybe a tornado or two, not possible there. And then eventually that system spreads east, and that's probably more of a significant weather maker as far as severe weather is concerned, getting into Friday evening. And that's going to be a fairly large area of potential severe weather from, gosh, it could be from northern Texas up to Michigan here. And we'll see how far east some of those stronger storms can survive. You're going to be really close in your neck of the woods towards Louisville, getting mainly into Saturday morning. And the problem with that system from Friday night to Saturday morning is it's more or less going to get stuck where a
oh my
front's
God,
going to be
like
at.
last time?
Bingo. Exactly. It's quite similar to actually to that system, the other week that just produced tons of rain. The problem versus that last system is that front got stuck for days. This will get stuck for about a day or so. But it can lead to some pretty heavy rainfall in areas from, I'd say, eastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, through kind of much of central Missouri, through central Illinois, even getting towards the Indianapolis area as well, for some flooding rains, especially considering we had that last system that dropped tons of rain. And so our soils are already, primed, so to speak.
Right.
They're pretty well saturated, and you get heavy rain on these areas. Although where the heaviest rain is expected is not the same corridor as the last system. It's still got a lot of rain in those spots. I'd say anywhere from about 3 to 7 inches, depending on where you are at exactly. So
And
the
that
ground's going to
heaviest
be
swath, you think, Matt, not to interrupt you, but that just for our listeners out there to kind of prepare the late week workload and things like that, where's that heaviest swath going to run from, you think? I mean,
yeah,
right now? I
yeah.
know it's
I
subject
think
to
from
change.
right, and it's going to depend on where that front ultimately kind of gets stuck at. But I would say from about eastern Oklahoma through much of the interior of Missouri. That includes areas Joplin to St. Louis. And then I would say towards about Indianapolis, that looks to be kind of the main show, so to speak, for the heavy rain. I think especially Illinois into eastern Oklahoma, I do think there can be areas that can get, 3 to 5 inches of rain, locally even heavier in some of those spots when all is said and done through the weekend here. So very, very heavy rain. And, for folks, for farmers, and I'm sure folks in the turf industry too, probably not at an ideal time with getting that heavy rain. But we're not done there just yet. We just only got through Saturday. I do think on the southern edge of those storms through Saturday afternoon, I think that's more of a southern Missouri, southern Illinois, even your neck of the woods getting to Saturday afternoon, southern Ohio, perhaps northern Kentucky, for a few stronger storms Saturday afternoon. And then another low moves through here as we get into Easter. And right now, I think that low can move through Iowa, and there's going to be a cold front attached to that system. And so need to watch another round of strong severe storms getting into Saturday afternoon, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois. And once again, the timing of the system, we'll see how far east the severe weather threats get, but I can certainly see some stronger storms working their way into Indiana, Kentucky, and portions of Tennessee as well.
Now, does that keep moving on east to the East Coast, Northeast, or where's it going? Southeast?
It does. The problem is it'll kind of choke itself out from the moisture. But I do think as we get into Monday into Tuesday, there'll be some showers into the north and to the east. Probably not severe, although we would need to watch kind of the southern edge in the mid-Atlantic, maybe a low-end strong storm risk for folks to, say, Virginia, North Carolina on the southern edge of that. But nowhere near as the high-impact system. It'll be out more into the interior U.S. as we get into Monday and Tuesday next week. But I do think, yes, that moisture will spread to the north and to the east. So it's jam-packed this weekend. Lots of rain, lots of storms, severe weather threats from really kind of kicking off overnight tonight and through the Easter weekend here. So,
What about
you know,
Easter egg hunts, man? We need to not color the eggs because they're going to get washed off.
it depends where you're at. I think, folks probably southern Indiana, where you're at, Kentucky, Tennessee, much of the U.S. Southeast, kind of east of Mississippi, probably can be pretty dry. But if you're in Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, northern Indiana, southern Michigan, northern Ohio, Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, I'm naming off tons of states here.
Right.
It probably will be a pretty wet day.
Okay.
Certainly going to put a damper in Easter festivities here.
Well,
The good
sorry.
news, though, after the system, things quiet down relatively for a few days. But there'll be kind of a weak system outside of the U.S. Northeast Monday and Tuesday that could impact areas, Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, Dakotas, northern Nebraska. But overall, not as active. But things I think can pick up as we head deeper into next week, as we're just in this very active weather pattern. We're probably not done yet with these episodes of multi-day severe weather outbreaks and heavy rainfall.
Gotcha.
But deeper into May or April, as we get into May, the frequency of these probably wind down, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
until then,
Well, your
we get to that
opinion's the only one that matters to me, man. So
Hey, I appreciate that.
you know that. I mean, the rest of them we just watch for fun. You know.
Sure, yeah. But yeah, it'll keep us busy. I'm sure it'll keep a lot of the folks in the turf industry, busy, being strategic of when to do things, how to do it, and let alone we behind these strong systems. The other kind of problem here is it probably can bring down periodic shots of cold air too, and so frost freeze threats probably aren't done. Although the forecast moving forward will generally lean warmer, it's behind these strong systems. They'll drag down cold air for a day or so. We're kind of
Yeah.
experiencing that now, probably even for you too.
Right.
It got quite chilly this morning.
Yeah.
Of course, that's going to be harder and harder to get, especially the further south you are as we head deeper into April, into May. That's just climatology. But these lows will continue to probably bring in some shots of cold air and behind too. So it's wet, later than normal frost and freeze for a lot of folks. Not the ideal spring, I would imagine.
And late
Whether you're
corn
a farmer or turf,
Yeah, it sounds like late corn too. If these farmers can't get in the field, right? To get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what planting period date time is, for those guys, but
Well, I could tell you from interacting with a lot of our clients, it seems like planting is on everybody's mind right now. There's a lot of folks out in the plains, in the Mississippi Delta who have already started. And I think people around here would like to start, but the weather's kind of really, limiting what folks can do. So
gotcha.
that'll be an issue. That's something we've been talking about, planting delays, especially the Eastern Ag Belt. That'll be an issue here. And, it's funny because as we get into especially summer, that I think there could be drier risks that start to emerge as well. So wild year so far. And I think it just continues to be a bit of a wild year moving forward.
Yeah. I was going to say next fall when we talk about snow, I'm going to put my order in for snow, but then I'm going to say but not so much rain in the spring. Will that help if we order it up differently?
Hey, listen, you didn't ask for that. You wanted the snow. I got you the snow. But I cannot turn off the tap. It won't turn off. So maybe this summer we can get some drier stretches. But
hey, quick question, just for specifically Louisville, Kentucky area, because I'm just being greedy now about tomorrow.
Sure.
You think we're good tomorrow till tomorrow afternoon or evening work wise, or do we have potential rain early?
I think you're good to go. I think as we get into the afternoon, let's call it about the 4 to 7 p.m. time frame for some light showers.
Okay.
But they should be like, I think any of the rain tomorrow that kind of tries to work its way from Illinois is going to struggle to push east, even toward the Lowell. It'll be just encounter a little bit drier air. And so it'll be a struggle. It should be pretty darn light, in my opinion. You probably see less than a tenth of an inch
All right.
at that, but should be good. Your morning work, early afternoon, you'll be good to go, in my opinion.
Well, good deal. Well, Matt, as always, man, I appreciate you and everything you guys do at BAM Weather to keep us on the road and cruise out and uh, or knowing when to keep cruise in, maybe more importantly. Uh,
Right.
Seriously, I mean, that is a big aspect of what you guys help contractors with. And if they don't understand that, they need to understand that as well, that's one of the huge benefits we get with you guys is not just accurate forecasting, but hey, don't send those crews out because that's expensive. You know,
Right.
when you launch in the morning and you get 30, 40 minutes or an hour, you never recover from the profit loss on that, you know? I mean, because
Right.
the most expensive thing we do is organize and get out and get to the job, you know? And then when you
Sure.
don't get enough time to do anything, then you get the fun of doing it all over again, you know? So,
Right.
uh,
And that's a great point. And you know, you could probably tell me, but probably one of those decisions, is worth the money you pay for our service in a
Oh,
year.
absolutely. I mean, I say it all the time, you know, not just when I'm on with you, but, you know, just in general. And, you know, in our other groups, the profit circle that we have, you know, with Profits Unlimited, my other company, that the return on investment of what we spend with you guys, and I know everybody would see the same result if they just utilized it. You know, the services that you guys offer, man, is second to none on anything. You know, we do really well on snow money, you know, profit dollars with snow. That's very profitable for us. But, you know,
Sure.
our return on investment with BAM Weather is second to none.
Well,
And I
I love to hear.
sincerely mean that, man. And
Yeah.
for you guys that aren't using it, you need to certainly check into it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And it's super easy. You can get a free trial. Anyone who just wants to test it out, maybe you're a suspect of it, get a free trial with us. That's
yeah,
something super easy to do. And we'll walk you through the entire process and show you how things work. So
absolutely. BAMWX.com and get you there still, right?
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right, Matt. Well, hey, thanks a lot. And you have a happy Easter, my friend.
You as well, Wayne. Have a good one and happy Easter to you and everyone on your crew.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you as always.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Of course. Bye bye.
All right. Matt Griffin. Daniel, it's always fun to have them on. You know, we have good forecasts they do all the way across for all of our listeners. And I know it's a little bit, gosh, you know, when you give a regional forecast, it's hard for somebody to dial in, but
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
just a taste of what's possible with the BAM, though.
but
Really,
yeah, that's just it. I mean, you guys that are not using them, you really need to. I don't care how good you think local is, and that it's just, man, that I like that 24/7 access to them. You know, uh, it just for us, it's invaluable. So, with that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. One thing that I wanted to talk about is, you know, being that we're in the spring and a lot of guys are kicking off seasons and, you know, everybody's wide open, if you will, is not to focus. I was reading an article today. Actually, it was this morning when I got into work early. I was reading an article in my email, and appreciate that, Mike. Appreciate that. And but I was reading an article, and this article was put out by uh, a company that does franchises, and the focus was on revenue. And I'm not picking on it, but I just want you guys to know that when you're reading something, and revenue is cool, revenue's best thing in the world, right? I mean, you don't have a company without sales. I mean, that's just it. Goes back to Mark Cuban, right? Sales cures all. But sales doesn't always cure all. And my point of sharing this with you guys is sales at a right margin cures all. So don't focus on revenue, focus on profit dollars. In other words, you don't, and it don't have to be extreme profit dollars. Yeah, that's great when it is, but the biggest problem you will ever put your company in is when you strive to hit a certain revenue goal without a profit goal running alongside of it. Because otherwise, all you're doing is you're kind of like Forrest Gump running across the country. You're just running hard. You're running, and you're doing good, and you're running. I know y'all can't see me. I'm acting like I'm running. You guys on the YouTube version of this can see me, but I'm just sitting there acting like I'm running. But the reality of it is, don't focus on revenue alone. And anytime, and maybe it's because I lived the revenue focus a long time, 9 years. For 9 years, my first 9 years I was in business, I didn't know it, but mine was a revenue focused goal orientation, if you will. It wasn't profit focused. I thought it was, and I knew I needed to make a profit. So, I don't want y'all to think I'm stupid, but I've done a lot of stupid things, and that was trying to hit certain revenue goals without profit goals running alongside those. And the only way you know is to know your numbers. And I even hate to say that, know your numbers, because it is so overused now. When we first start talking about it, I'm dating myself a little bit. This goes back to like 1990. Okay. But it was, we don't know what we don't know. And that is the reality of it. And there's a lot of companies out there that are hitting revenue goals that don't know what they don't know about their profitability within their business. So I'm not going to beat that horse any harder today, other than the fact I know it's spring. I know a lot of us are kicking off seasons. I know a lot of us are putting on significant amount of work right now. And that significant could mean 5 accounts. It might mean 500 accounts, So it's based on your company size. But what we need to do is know and understand that along with revenue goals, profit goals have to be running side by side. Because if you do one without the other, it can get very convoluted, And even just saying, hey, even just trying to come up with a profit goal versus understanding cost and how you back into a revenue projection is important. So you can't just say, hey, I want to make $100 profit, or hey, I want to do $100 in sales. It's, hey, how are we going to accomplish that? We accomplish that by first understanding cost, and first and foremost, I just think it ought to be a rule that anybody that's going to talk about revenue, that sounds bad, doesn't it, Daniel? It needs to be a rule. But it doesn't need to be a rule necessarily, but I just think anybody that's going to talk about revenue projections and goals needs to also include the fact that you need to understand profit goals and cost to project what those revenues really need to be. So, yeah, Mike says it's like having offense without defense. You can put up 80 points, but let in 82. So, yeah, that's it. That's a great comparison to that. Let's see. Yeah, said I always like to sell 100K at 20% versus 200 at 10%. I mean, the plan, it's the plan. That's what it amounts to. Do you have a plan in place? And know that the number one rule in your business has got to be, let's not focus on revenue only, because that will get you in trouble. That will get you in trouble. Because if you don't believe it, just check out our video that we got on YouTube about specifically Wayne Vose and how we were doing a really nice revenue, but not making any money. You know, what's the name of that, Daniel? How we made $300,000 a year and didn't make any money or something. But yeah. I mean, that's the reality of it, and that's got quite a bit of looks. And the reality of it is that's what a lot of contractors do. They get revenue focused and not profit focused along with that. So that's the number one rule I want you guys to live by all the time, but especially this spring as you're looking at those, the phone ringing and you're going out and you're running those leads and talking to people and putting new business on, that there's more to it than just building up the gross dollar volume. And another reminder, these are just reminders. No biweekly mowings. And if you want one mulligan, you get a mulligan. But other than that, no biweekly mowings. And we're not going to talk about those today. We've talked about them enough. But the reality of it is, there should be no room in your schedule for biweekly mows. Now, like I said, you get a mulligan because there is a time and place where maybe one will fit or two will fit, but just don't load yourself up with it. Don't do it because that's what the customer wants. Do it because that's what you want to fit into a particular schedule, and not a routine schedule. But hey, it just fits fine right here. It will work. Kind of thing. So you get a mulligan on that. Let's see. Corey sent us something here. Let's see. The yes for profit will ease the no. Yeah. Corey, I understand exactly 100% what you're saying, because that is exactly what I say all the time. And that's how I fixed my business, particularly, was once I knew what I didn't know, I knew where no was at. I knew that when somebody offered a certain price, and that's really what frustrates me about our industry. People want to tell you what they're going to pay. Hey, we'll pay this, but not that. This is what we've been paying. This is all it's worth. Never, ever, ever apologize for pricing. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Our price is the price because we know what it takes to do the job right, because the ultimate goal is a quality job. Now, within that, sometimes comes into play the thing, and I think Zig Ziglar said it well. He's a little differently than I do, and he's much more successful than I'll ever be. But the reality of it, he said, and I can't remember exactly how he said it, but the way my dad said it was similar to Zig Ziglar. And I mean, you guys can Google it and find it in like 2.6 seconds, but something to the point of never apologize for price, but you can explain your cost. And I think that's something that we need to help sometimes our customers understand, that not that we're going to go through and say, hey, well, my lawnmower cost me this, my sprayer cost me this. They don't care what your costs are. But one thing that I have found in 46 years of business, that the quality of the service that you provide is very long remembered after price is forgotten. Hey, how many times haven't you heard somebody or even said yourself, man, I can't remember exactly what I paid. It wasn't cheap, but man, it was good. It was a good service. It was a good trip. It was good, whatever, you know? So you don't, if you don't want to have to explain or you don't want to have to apologize for your pricing, provide a great service. Now, I know there's a fine line between providing a great service, being competitive, and making a profit for some parts of the industry and for some parts of a lot of industries. And it's only because too many times we don't know what we don't know. Our business model's not good. But certainly bi-weekly mowings makes it hard. And now the new and improved version of that we started with last year that we start getting calls on, and we've had a few this year on tri-weekly mowings. Not try and see if you do a good job, because that's another thing we're going to talk about here in a minute. But like every 3-week mowing. I mean, I don't know if that's who you want to be, and if that's who you want to be, that's fine. And if that's who you want to be, keep doing it, because I want you to stay busy doing stuff like that so we can have the good stuff. I know that sounds a little bit arrogant, maybe. Probably a lot arrogant. But if you want to do the stupid things over and over and over and over, they become a choice at that point. And when you know you're making a choice that's not in the best interest of your company, is when you may want to think about doing things a little differently. Another thing this time of the year that comes up a lot, let's see what we got here. There you go. There you go. Oh, John just sent me a video of one of his robotic mowers. He says this is one of his staff members mowing today, Daniel. It's a robotic mower. And that is part of our industry. I know John talked about that in the Profit Circle with us a while back. And it'd certainly be a great thing to talk about again. And I know Tim Brennan has implemented those within his business as well. And I think that's certainly the wave of our future, is robotic mowing. And and there's going to be companies, I know John and them have been doing it a while, and robotic mowing, battery operated equipment, it challenges each and every one of us to look outside. I'm going to use the term. I don't like it, but I'll use it. Outside the box. But to look at doing things different than the way we've always done them, to be different. And that is the reality of how a lot of our companies can be more successful, is the ones that step up to the plate and decide to do things different. I will certainly do that. I'll certainly do that, Aaron. So something else that I want to talk a little bit about today, and I'm not going to take a break because I just want to keep going, but I got a couple more things I want to run by y'all today. I've got, and I know you all can't see this, but I swear I'm holding up my hand, and I'm going to show it on our YouTube thing. In my hand, this is a contractor certainly thinking outside the box. So I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I just want y'all's opinion on it.
I think you are saying it's wrong.
I
mean, let's not be
all right. Let's
deceptive.
Okay.
Some things are wrong.
Okay. This is wrong. All right. That's fair, Daniel. All right. Thanks for
I'll be King Darren in this situation.
Okay.
Tell you to stop apologizing.
Don't stop apologizing, Wayne. Darren used to tell me that all the time. But the reality of it is, this flyer says on it, and maybe you guys have seen it in your market. This is the first one I've seen. And Kyle got me this, okay, off of their what did he say? His
Neighborhood Facebook
his
page.
neighborhood Facebook page. So if by chance you're listening to us and you're one of our competitors,
Listen up.
listen up. Because it's coming to a theater near you all, wherever you're at, too, probably. Specifically on this flyer, it says, your price, your choice. Your price, your choice. Professional lawn care services. Here we go. Here it is. For you guys that are not sitting down, please sit down. And if you're driving, please pull over. The safest spot you can pull over. And I'll give you a few seconds to do that before I tell you. Because I've seen a lot of different marketing concepts. And again, I want your all's opinion on this. But this says, your price, your choice. Professional lawn care services. You decide what you pay. We believe in providing quality lawn care at a price that fits your budgets. No setup fees. No set fees. I'm sorry. No set fees. Just, it's got me tore up. Just fair, honest work at a price that you feel is right. I'm holding it right in my hand. I swear to goodness I am. If any of y'all would like a copy of it, just to put up in your office, just to remind you of what's coming to a neighborhood near you, maybe. Now, I realize that's not you, y'all. I realize it's not any of us probably here on Turf's Up Radio. But what I also know is this is the problem with our industry. This is why the industry continues to get diluted and has for the 46 years that I've been involved in it, is because you get more and more and more of this. Now, again, Daniel told me to say it is wrong because it is. But if that works for them, I guess it works for them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Now, it does have on there to be fair to them. I want to be fair to them. It does say minimum of $35.
Which is even, in my opinion, even dumber. Like,
yeah,
what does that even mean? Like, you're going to offer someone to choose their price. Why wouldn't everyone just choose $35?
Yeah, because it doesn't say anything
just
about
they will mow any yard for $35.
I'm just
because for one, it's not obviously not truly pick your price. If you can say you have parameters,
yeah.
And 35, like, once again, why would someone just be like, oh, I'd rather pay you 40 than 35?
That's what Mike said. False advertisement. LOL. Yeah. I mean, you guys are right. You know, I mean, we need, let's see what we got here on this one. This is why I've always said the green industry needs requirements like HVAC, electric, et cetera, to have apprenticeships, journeymans, et cetera. I agree 100%. Agree absolutely 100% that's the way it needs to be. You know, it really does.
But then you also have to figure out a way to educate the people that are educating.
Yes.
Because who's to say that they know what they're talking about? Even if you go to the person that says, gosh, I can't remember what it was now, but the one you were talking about today with the newsletter and the email that the one that the people that do the what's the word?
Sorry, Daniel, I was reading this text.
The people that do the franchises.
Oh yeah, about the revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not a terrible or like a terrible email send. I can't remember what the email was now that they sent out a while back that we talked about. But like,
yeah,
Okay, are they the industry influencer experts who then train everybody? Like, because that's what they do with their franchises, but that doesn't mean that necessarily they should train everybody or know what they're talking
Yeah,
about just because they're big
correct.
or what. Like
I mean,
that's the problem with this is who's educating the
who's
educators.
regulating the educators? That's the reality of it, and that's where we talked about doing your due diligence before you work with somebody. And we're not calling any particular company out, any particular franchise out. We're just saying do your due diligence. Corey said he'll drive by and make sure the house is still there for 35, but nothing else is going on. But do your due diligence with that. you know and here's something else that I want to talk about today. I got several things. We're not going to get to a lot of them, but that's okay. That just blew me off my feet yesterday when I saw that, because we've all seen a lot of them that give really inexpensive mowing services or lawn applications or whatever it may be, lighting, you know, but to name your price, I'm almost halfway. I am going to probably call the person. They do have a website, so we'll look that up, and I'm going to see about reaching out to him. First of all, I want to get him on Turfs Up Radio. You know,
Yeah.
I'd like to get him on Turfs Up Radio. I'd love to get him in the profit circle with us, because we could certainly help somebody with it. Aaron asked me what's more important. I don't know if this is a serious question or not, but I will treat it as a serious question. What's more important, pricing or showing up? Well,
Pricing has to
pricing
be
first.
more important
Pricing's got to be the foundation.
because you were showing up all those years. I mean, just go back to the video.
Yeah, go check out my video. I showed up for 9 years and didn't make it shit. I wasn't making anything. We're doing a good volume.
It's almost like saying what's more important, the foundation or the roof, right? Like they're both important, but without the foundation, the roof's not going to be there anyway.
Yeah, or not long.
Yeah.
It's the foundation that's important. You've got to build your business from the bottom up, not the top down. It's the same exact concept that I talk to equipment dealers and manufacturers about our seminars. We got to build a solid foundation for a contractor to stand on, because Wayne didn't have a solid foundation for 9 years. So showing up and doing a great job, they're not the most important thing you're going to do. Your stripes are not the most important thing you're going to do. I watched a video this morning on one of our local guys sitting here talking about, look at my stripes. And it ain't just local, it's all over the world. Everybody wants to talk about, ooh, look at these stripes. Look how good these stripes are. If you cared as much about your stripes, showing up, quality of work, relationship with all those things that we say are important, and they are. But if you cared as much about understanding your cost for your company as you do about all the other things, you'd have a great company. You can have a good company not knowing for sure. I will say that. You can have a good company guessing. You just work your ass off. That's what it amounts to. You work. Oh, but you got to work hard. I'm not saying not to work hard. I'm just saying if you're going to work hard, let's make some money working hard. That's all I want the mindset to be. Let's see what we got here. The dumb is strong in that one. And it's that Yodi guy or whatever.
Yoda, yeah.
Yeah.
Yodi.
Oh my God. you know, there is now a social media lawn care striping guy. I'm sure. But like I said, there's nothing more frustrating to me than guys want to talk about their stripes. But when you ask them what's it cost to pull up in front of Miss Smith's yard before you spray it or mow it or do the mulch, or they're like, I'm not sure. This is what I'm charging. This is what the market will bear. This is what my client's willing to pay. Or in this new case of the guy that says your price, your choice, care about your business as much as you care about the other things within your business. Specifically, care about your pricing and know that your pricing can be adjusted. We actually we got a video we're getting ready to put out on how the tariffs are going to affect your business. But the good thing about that for everybody is don't panic. Don't panic. It ain't going to be the worst thing in the world. Mike said, if you ask me about our stripes, we're going to talk about the flag. God bless America. I hear you, man. He said, you're 100% right on that. I would say 1,000%, but that's not accurate. LOL. Katie would get us on that, wouldn't she? But again, those are a few things that I want to be the takeaways today. Is number one is I don't think this business is scalable when you say you make the price, you set the price, you tell us what you want to pay. And now that I think about it, this might be the second one of these I've seen. I'm going to root through my scans because I scan this stuff in because I use it at seminars. We might have an update Friday for you. But I think we got another flyer from years in the past that didn't look nearly as nice as this one, but that's what it had on it. You tell us what you want to pay. We're going to find that, Daniel. I think this might be number 2. I guess I wiped it out of my mind, But again, summary for today. And John, it's great hearing from you again, my friend. But summary on today and all you guys, your input's unbelievable. I appreciate it. Decide what you're going to use for your marketing, but make sure it's professional. Make sure it's accurate. Make sure it's not deceptive. Let yourself stand out based on pride and professionalism and those professional results and daily efforts. And know that just because you did something one way yesterday doesn't mean you can't change the way you do it today. So let's throw the bi-weekly mows out. Let's throw the tri-weekly mows out. Let's throw the you tell me what you're going to pay out. Let's be more focused on what's really important within our business. And that is the success and profitability of the business model that we have in place. John said they've got a guy in their town. The name of the business is Low Cost Lawn Mowing. Just, you got to worry about the type of client that's going to attract too. Wouldn't you say so, Daniel?
Yeah. Well, I think with this thing too is
it's kind of like going to, and this is going to maybe a terrible comparison, but it's kind of like buy here, pay here lot. And I'm not making fun of you if that's where you got to buy a car or truck, but you're going to be taken advantage of at a buy here, pay here. You're probably going to be taken advantage of by somebody that says low cost mowing, and taken advantage of not from the price of the service, but more importantly, their ability to deliver service. Go ahead, Daniel. I'm sorry.
Well, just with this, this guy's marketing is, it might be like, not that you would do this, but it might be attractive to say, okay, well, this guy's obviously probably getting a lot of attention from this because it's so out there, right? Like, it's not something many people are doing. So let me go and do that too to get more attention for my business within the
Yeah.
community. But like you said, just be aware of who that is actually attracting. You might get a few people that ends up, not that in this case you would pay anything or $35 minimum or whatever. But with any crazy marketing, you might get a few people that are okay, but you're probably going to waste so much more time with people that are just time wasters.
Yeah. And if if these pictures are actually stuff they've done, the quality of the job looks good. But I mean, you don't know that either. But I don't know. Well, what I do know is this: we're up on it. We're up on that 11 o'clock bewitching hour. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, all your input. Without you, all my show's not possible. And as always, we had a ton of content we didn't get to, but we'll get to it Friday. We'll get to it Friday. I got a few other things that I want to talk about on this line, and then also got a headline Friday that we're going to talk about. It's called "What is your response?" And so put that in your pipe. Hold on to that one. But yeah, we're going to talk about what's your response as it relates to things that customers bring up. And if you got anything you want to cover or you want me to cover on Friday under that heading, feel free to shoot me a text. Let me know. We'll put it in there. So I think we're going to have fun with that. I got a lot of fun ideas already on here that we're going to talk about. And but that's our plan. That's our plan. It's hump day. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Be sure to listen to Turfs Up Radio all day long. Join us in the Profit Circle. Daniel, for our new guys listening to us, how can they get in there quickly and easily, if you don't mind?
Go to our website, Profits Are Us, Profits AREUS.com, and the Profit Circle will be right there on the homepage. Just click the button that says the Profit Circle. It'll take you there and sign up for it.
Just like damn weather, you get in for free. Check it out. Check it out. See what it's all about. But we certainly would love to have you in there with us and hanging out with like-minded professionals from throughout North America. So with that being said, you guys have a great day. We appreciate each and every one of you. Don't do anything that you know is not in the best interest of your company. And I don't want to end my show on something that sounds that ludicrous, but a mistake's a mistake. But a mistake repeated more than once becomes a choice. Don't let it happen to you. We'll see you guys Friday. And remember, profit is not a dirty word.